Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica into a poor but ambitious family. He was neither a prince nor a man of noble power. His only true assets were his intelligence, discipline, and an insatiable hunger for greatness. As a teenager, he entered a French military academy, where his talent in artillery and military mathematics quickly became clear. When the French Revolution erupted, the nation fell into chaos, but for Napoleon, this chaos became a historic opportunity. At just 26 years old, during the siege of Toulon, he defeated royalist forces and their foreign allies through brilliant use of artillery and suddenly rose to national fame. Soon after, he was appointed commander of the French army in Italy, where he crushed the Austrian armies one after another despite being outnumbered. Napoleon transformed the art of warfare. He introduced a new principle to the battlefield: the rapid concentration of force at the enemy's most vulnerable point, followed by a sudden, decisive strike at the center of command. In 1798, Napoleon launched his ambitious campaign in Egypt, a pivotal moment in his early career. At the Battle of the Pyramids, he decisively destroyed the Mamluk forces, employing disciplined square infantry formations. Although his fleet was later destroyed by the British at sea, his Eastern campaign solidified his reputation as a global legend. In 1799, he returned to France, executed a swift coup, and seized political power. Soon after, he crowned himself Emperor of France, marking the beginning of the Napoleonic era for Europe. Austria, Prussia, Russia, and repeated coalitions stood against him, yet time and again they were defeated. In 1805, at the Battle of Austerlitz, Napoleon achieved his greatest tactical masterpiece. With a smaller force, he deliberately weakened one flank to lure the Russian and Austrian armies into attack. He then struck their center with decisive force, crushing the coalition in one of military history's most studied victories. After this triumph, the Holy Roman Empire collapsed, Prussia suffered a devastating defeat, and Napoleon became the uncontested military master of Europe. However, his greatest enemies were not only opposing armies. Time, distance, and the vastness of Europe became his true rivals. In 1812, he invaded Russia with the largest army ever assembled up to that time. He captured Moscow, but the Russians burned the city and retreated. Winter, starvation, and extreme cold destroyed his army. Out of more than 600,000 soldiers, only a small fraction returned. After the disaster in Russia, the European powers united once again. In 1814, Napoleon was defeated and exiled to the island of Elba. But the story was not over. 1 year later, he returned. In just 100 days, he rebuilt an army and reclaimed power. Then, in 1815, at the famous Battle of Waterloo, he was defeated forever. This time, he was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean. 6 years later, he died there in isolation. Napoleon stands as the second greatest military commander in history because he redefined modern European warfare, reshaped entire military systems, perfected the principle of rapid, decisive war, and brought nearly all of Europe under his control. Yet as brilliant as he was also profoundly proud. He ignored the limits of nature and reality, and in Russia, he paid the ultimate price. Napoleon proved that even a simple soldier can become an emperor. Genius, discipline, and speed can bring a continent to its knees. But he also proved that ignoring reality, underestimating nature, and having too much faith in raw power can bring down even the greatest commanders in history.